What is up, guys, gals, and non-binary pals? My name's Naomi. Welcome to House of Miscellanea. If this is your first time joining me here, welcome to the channel. If you are coming back to see me again, thank you as ever for coming back. So glad to see you again. If only I was seeing you for real. I love your comments, so keep those coming. If you're unfamiliar with a WIP in chat, which is what this is, WIP stands for work in progress. Means I'll be working on, in this case, a diamond painting as per usual, and chatting about life in general, typically about things to do with the channel, things to do with my life, my family's lives, etc., things that are upcoming for the channel, and then I usually will have some sort of a topic regarding psychology or mental health, things like that. I like to kind of keep a little something in there for psychology. If you're not really sure exactly why I chose psychology, if you go back to WIP number 1, it will kind of tell you a little bit about me and why I'm doing the channel, etc. So, I'll link that down in the description if you're interested. But for those of you who are coming back and you already know these things, I won't bore you twice. That said, let's get into it. I'm going to talk a little bit about my tools that I've got, and then we'll go from there. The pen that I am using today is a pen from Lass and Lathworks. This is a beautiful pen. I love it, love it, love it. I would have better lighting on it, but every time that I seem to put lighting over here, it just creates this massive glare, and I know y'all don't want to see that. So, using a pen from Lass and Lathworks. This was actually, I was trying to destash it, so if somebody's looking for a pen, hit me up in the comments. I'll tell you all about it. And then I'm using my just old trusty cat-proof diamond painting tray. Love this thing. It's just, I think I'll probably use it forever. I'm using my sad little lump of super sticky patty wax. I got a bunch of other waxes from them and found that I enjoyed the super sticky sample that they gave me more. So this is what I've been using until I get more of that. I have switched over. I know usually I do butterfly effect wares, but I'm trying a little something different. I am going with a salted caramel putty from Creations Morin. They are out of Canada, so if you are a Canadian person, you can check them out. Otherwise, you guys, let's get into it. Updates, life updates for the last week. Okay, so I quit smoking on the 31st, and I have not smoked since. I am still using a smoking cessation, that being a patch. I'm wearing a patch, but I will be stepping down in milligrams on the patch so that eventually I don't need to wear it anymore. I think with the patches that I've been wearing, they're like some sort of off-brand, whatever, generic, and I'm finding that after I wear them, I am super, super itchy, and I don't know if it's because I'm allergic to the adhesive or what exactly is going on with that situation, but the sooner that I can stop wearing patches, the better. So I'd really like to be stepping down, eventually not wearing it, because it's even leaving red, rough patches on my skin. I'm not used to that. I'm used to having very, soft, kind of plush skin, we don't like that. But that said, I'm doing well with the not smoking. This is probably one of the more successful times I've had with not smoking, so I'm going to try and keep that up. It's a challenge. It's always a challenge. So anytime you quit something, it's always a challenge, especially when it comes to addiction. As we know, that's just not a easy spot to be in. So I'm going to keep working at it. I'm going to not give up. And thank you for your kind comments of support. I really, really appreciate it. It's not an easy thing. I've been a smoker since I was quite young. And so, smoking for some 30 plus years, it's really, really hard to quit once you've been smoking for that length of time. So I'm just very, very happy to kind of be moving along with that in my life. So other news, I finally have a date for the sneak peeks. As far as I am aware, the first sneak peek that I will be releasing will be on, I believe, Friday the 25th, so long as the, Diamond Art Club has released media about the particular kit that I would be sneak peeking beforehand. I have to wait until they've posted on social media, and then I can post my sneak peek. So it should be that Friday, not this upcoming, but the following. Should have a sneak peek for you on this channel from Diamond Art Club. If for some weird reason it doesn't arrive on time, I am told that what they would do then is just you open it as soon as you get it at that point, if it's late, and then you do what's called an early look, like I've been doing with a few of the other kits that I purchased early. So it'll be something that, I just play it by ear, I guess. But I'm super, super, super excited about that. Other updates, job stuff. Okay, so I am still currently not working as of right this moment. The only prospect that I really have going on is a interview with School for the Blind and Visually Handicapped in the town that I live. So if all goes well with that, then maybe I'll be working with the blind and visually handicapped and in town. That's kind of a bonus right there. So we'll see how that goes. I will keep you updated. Putting in some applications here and there, but just kind of seeing what happens in my life. I'm really not trying to push it too hard because I also am a little bit tired of the disappointment. So I'm going to do whatever I need to do to both try and look for a job, but also to try and keep myself sane at the same time, because it can be a lot to just the constant rejection. I mean, anybody who has been in the entertainment industry or modeling industry, etc., somebody who's performed in stage shows, which I've done, you're used to that kind of rejection, but there's also a limit to how much rejection you can take in a certain amount of time. Having no be the answer every time, yeah, you got to just keep knocking doors. You got to keep trying. You got to keep pushing. But at a certain point too, you've got to give yourself a little mental break. So I'm doing a little bit of both. I'm just not pushing super hard because I'm not looking to be told no again. And so far, I gotta say, I am really enjoying this putty. I think it's because some of our weather is changing here, and I don't have the heat on in my house up to full blast, trying to keep it warm. So the room that I'm in is not super hot either. So anyways, let's see, upcoming channel stuff besides the sneak peek. This week I've got a small shop haul that I am putting out. I believe I have that set for Thursday. Friday is going to end up being like unboxings or sneak peeks or whatever. I'm going to try and keep it in the same vein. The rest of the week may vary a little bit, but the WIP and chat will always be on Wednesday, and the sneak peek or unboxing type stuff will usually be on Fridays. If I don't have a sneak peek that week, it might change a little bit, but that said, for the time being, it would be monthly sneak peeks with Diamond Art Club, and then I would do other stuff in between for, unboxings, whatever. I am going to be releasing, probably same day as this, a video on helping me plan my next kit, you guys. I have like, you know, when you have a stash that's very large, and maybe you don't, and that's okay too. But if you have a stash that's really large and there's a lot of variety in it, and it's just like, it's like decision paralysis. You know what I mean? I have a little bit of decision paralysis happening. So I would really appreciate some input from you guys on what kit to select. And I've got some options that I will be presenting, either showing you if they're already open and I can show you the kit and the render, or showing you a picture, one of the two, something like that, so that you can see what I got and what I'm working with, and maybe you have some input that you'd like to give. I'd super appreciate that. I also, let's see, what else did I have planned for the week? Trying to think. There's another one or two, but what I have found is that I'd asked before about, you know, how often you would want to see content from creators that you like to watch, and whether you would want weekly content from those people, or if that would just be way too much, you know, what have you. And it seemed to be that most people were content with the idea of having things to watch, options. You know, maybe you don't want to watch this video, but you want to watch that video, what have you. So I will keep putting out content pretty consistently, maybe even daily, for at least a little while, until I either A, run out of ideas, or B, I, you know, just maybe I get a job at that point, whatever. But I'm going to try and keep a steady flow of videos coming, because I've also noticed that the algorithm tends to ignore you for a little bit if you have not posted content. And I mean, like, even in 24 hours, sometimes it will ignore you. It won't show you to new people. It won't, like, I noticed the subscriber count stalls out, and like, the new subscriber count has been fairly steady, which I'm grateful for. And so, you know, if I keep posting content, then it seems like they keep showing me to people and the subscriber count goes up. So I appreciate that. You know, here's something that I would be interested in your opinion on. And please be honest. I am not afraid of honesty, and I know I have my kind of certain feelings about it. I'd like to hear your thoughts. So I had thought about, while I am not working, and even while I am working, but while I am not working, and the channel starting to grow, I had thought about the possibility of starting, and I'm like dreading even saying it out loud because I feel uncomfy, but starting a Patreon or members of the channel type thing once that option opens up to me. It feels like begging, you guys. It does. And that's kind of why I have feelings about it. However, there are people that have asked, you know, are you thinking about doing that? I would donate to, or I would do a membership if you decided to do that, yada, yada. You know, I want to know more about this or that. I want to have more exclusive kind of access to certain things, like photos of my works in progress, instead of, because you guys are seeing what you're seeing either in post review or, you know, during the lives. Sometimes I will pick up a canvas that I happen to be working on and kind of show you where I'm at with it. Or, you know, sometimes the lives get some sneak peek things, but I can forego that and put it into special videos for members, or Patreon people. But that said, I also get this really kind of yicky feeling, because I don't know that I'm so special or important that anybody would really want to, like, pay extra to see anything. I don't know. And that's maybe me just, I got to get over that, right? I got to get over that. That said, I'm not asking about me specifically, but Are you the kind of person who is interested in exclusive content from a creator where you would be interested in, doing a monthly subscription? Is that something that you normally do? Is that something that you think is kind of like gross that a person would ask? And here's part of why I ask. It's not because I'm broke and, I need the money to feed my family or something. What I want to do is to put the money back into the channel, and I would be able to get items to show you guys reviews on things, or to, I want to do some fun things. I was talking about doing a conversion project for taking a double-sided adhesive piece and how to turn that into a poured glue piece, or you know what I mean? Like, I have these project ideas in mind, or things that they require a little money, and I don't want to have to like beg off my husband to do these things. So, there's that. The other thing is, people have been interested in knowing a little bit more about me personally, and I would probably, in these two, I would talk about like my experiences working at Bristol. I might show some photos of like, or even, okay, you guys, I'm going to tell you right now, it's a secret. It's a secret that I'm sharing with you right now. There is a video that exists of me right now from when I was in my band. I won't tell you the band name. That'll be a secret too, just in case you can search it. I don't know. I think it's private, but from when I was in my band, I was like in my 20s. This is like baby Naomi, okay? This is baby Naomi singing in my band. I was the lead singer. Like that sort of thing, sharing that sort of content, like, showing you my pets, showing you kind of just some things, some extra things that you wouldn't see in the diamond painting stuff. It would be kind of a little bonus extras, whatever. Okay, so is that content that you're interested in from creators that you watch? Or is that like gross? Why? I don't even know why they ask. It makes me uncomfortable that people talk about their Patreons or talk about their member programs, whatever. Tell me your thoughts, okay? I really want to know. Like, honestly, I want to know. Not because it's going to deter me or convince me, because I'm not even convinced that I am comfortable like asking these things. But that said, there would be perks as well. As far as being a member goes, my in-laws return home this upcoming week, I believe. And what that means is my father-in-law is going to be home. And my intention is for my father-in-law to show me how to turn pen blanks. I have some plans. So members of the channel or Patreon members, whatever, part of their membership would be getting a custom diamond pen from me. So yeah, I don't know. Just like, these are thoughts. These are thoughts I have. I'm literally just free thinking right now, kind of just talking. Let me know what you think. What do you think? Is that something you would be interested in? Is that something that you're like grossed out when people ask or bring it up? But there again, like, being a Patreon would also help pay for things like making diamond painting pens and getting that going, and just stuff. Because maybe, just maybe, I don't have to go and try and make myself miserable for the rest of my life to try and fit somewhere, and I can make my own path, I don't know. Just thoughts I had. Shower thoughts, Okay, all of that aside, moving on. We've already wasted enough time. So wanted to talk a little bit about, we went to, and I will be throwing up a couple of pictures here and there, like there's not people in it or whatever, I don't think. Maybe other people, but not me. So I went with my husband and his best friend, our best friend, a friend of ours that's been a friend of the family for a long time, the one who is house sitting over at his parents'. We went to Devil's Lake this last weekend, and we did a hike, and I'm going to have him send me the hike information so I can show you like the the total hike information, but it was something like 6 point whatever miles, okay, which isn't a lot for us as far as distance goes, but we hiked up one bluff and down, and then we went to the other side of the lake and then hiked up that bluff and back down, which ended up being like a total elevation gain of like 1,100 feet, I believe it was, if I'm remembering correctly. It was a hike, you guys. And one of the pictures that I'm going to show you right here is a place there called the Devil's Doorway. The state park is called Devil's Lake State Park. And this Devil's Doorway, people will climb up in there and they'll stand in it and, get their picture taken, whatever. The reason that this place is called Devil's Lake is the lake itself is so deep at the center that, it was rumored that it was, some sort of a drop off to the abyss or whatever, blah, blah, lore, history. And that happens to be the Devil's Doorway. So people will stand in it, get their picture taken, etc. Now, if you look in the photo there, way down on the left side is a parking lot. We are up in the air, like from the parking lot, about, I would say 400 feet. It's quite high. It's quite high up that we have to climb to get there. So it's all made of this specific quartzite. It's called Baraboo quartzite, which is specific to Wisconsin. You can't find that quartzite anywhere else. It's very, very beautiful stuff. It's like a purple quartz. It's lovely. Not amethyst. So anyways, we do this hike, and it is a gorgeous day, not too hot, just a lovely day for a hike. We go to down the trail from the Devil's Doorway. We happen to, because we're going to head back down the bluff and head to the other bluff. Well, as we're going along, here's another couple of pictures I will put up for you. There's these two guys, and I only managed to capture a picture of one of them because the other one was almost to the end of his slack line. The gentleman in this photo, I don't know who he is, but he is on what is called a slack line, which is like the idea of a tight rope, but it is not tight. It is slack. It's a flat kind of rope, but it's not really rope. It's a nylon belt almost that they have stretched across from one rock to the other. And the distance below that guy to the rocks underneath him is about, I would say, 70 feet to the rocks just below him. Now, that's not as high up as, the whole thing is, but that's just the rocks that are underneath him from, like, the next outcrop down. 70 feet. 7 stories in the air. Heck no. 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 Not even. Not even a little bit. The other slack line that you can't see, the one that the other guy crossed, was 250 feet across. I just can't, you guys. I don't understand people with their daredevilness and wanting to be messing with heights. No. Remember, I already told you, I don't mess with heights. I don't mess with water. Like, no. No. So more power to these guys for wanting to do that, but nuh-uh. That to me is just insanity. I can't even. But, this particular state park is very popular for people who like to go bouldering. And I like bouldering. I do like to climb. there's safety harness equipment involved. And the only thing that's keeping this dude on the slack line, obviously, is his toes. But, he's got this belt on that essentially, if he falls off of it, will, there's like a ring that goes around that slack line, and it'll keep him from falling all the way to his death. Well, awesome. Goody for that guy. Still not going to do it. Still not going to do it. Not even a little bit. So that was cool. There's people who are, doing little mini rock climbs while they're there, and it's a really great park for that. Really great for camping. If you're ever in the Wisconsin area, Devil's Lake State Park in Baraboo is a fantastic, just a day hike. It's a good day trip. They got swimming, they've got hiking, they've got, rock climbing. We were even offered a couple of times, like, hey, you guys want to put on a harness and do a little rock climbing? Like, nope, we're good. We're good. We're just doing some hiking. But really, really beautiful weekend for a good hike. Because when I first got out of inpatient rehab, that was the first place that we went. Like, we left inpatient rehab and went straight to Devil's Lake. So I have very fond memories of that place just from childhood, from when, my mother was still living. We used to go there all the time when I was little. Well, little, relatively speaking, younger. And so, yeah, I've got really great memories there with my own kids, and, just a really beautiful, beautiful place. And I will definitely share photos with you guys in future of some, like if we're going to do a trip or something like that, a quick little jaunt for the weekend or a day trip or something, I'll make sure to just share with you guys a little picture or whatever. Like especially because, we usually take Beans with us, our Pyrenees, and that's one that he couldn't do simply because, he's a giant breed dog, and we do not want to do anything that could compromise his hips or joints. And unfortunately, that sort of a hike is far too involved for a pup that's growing. Like, he's just not, our border collie could totally handle that hike and has handled that hike multiple times, but it's just not something we take the Pyrenees on. It's just not good for him. Just not good for him. But anyway, yeah, beautiful weekend for a hike. So we get home and we're about to relax for the evening, whatever. And Dustin goes to the fridge. He gets himself a can of soda, okay? Well, our son is usually, if he's not down in the living room, then he's always leaving his stuff out in the living room, which it happens. He's a teenager. I just come to expect it at this point. But he had at the time our like kind of family laptop open and sitting on like a TV tray or whatever, because that's what he uses for a little, desk, whatever, not a desk, but, a surface. When he's sitting on the couch or whatever, he's got the TV tray in front of him. Well, the computer was wide open, and on the TV tray, Dustin goes to walk past it. I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden he decides to swing his arm upright and smacks the the Mountain Dew can, on the laptop. Now, it's an older laptop. It's seen better days. You know what I mean? Like, it does what it's supposed to do, but only just barely. And, it's probably been in need of replacement for a while now anyways. But he smacks it with the Mountain Dew can. Something happens where the Mountain Dew can splits, and Mountain Dew starts spraying everywhere. I mean, on me, on the computer, and I'm like 6 feet from him. It just starts spraying Mountain Dew everywhere. Well, I'm trying to help, doing my best to help get it all cleaned up, whatever. And apparently we didn't get it cleaned up either fast enough or enough, because the computer will not turn on for a while. We let it dry out, to see if maybe we can still get it to turn on. Well, we can get it to turn on, but the screen won't do anything. So our son is freaking out because he uses the laptop for his artwork. He makes avatars for like VR chat and stuff like that. He does a lot of VR stuff. He does a lot of computer animation stuff, like on his own. He does commissions. And so like not having a laptop, it's no good. It's no good at all. He's freaking out about it. And he's been begging for a gaming laptop for forever. And it's like, I don't know. We don't really have that kind of money. It's not really in the cards right now. Well, so my husband and I were talking about it, and he's like, I'm thinking about, using my specific credit card and getting a gaming laptop. We've been needing a new laptop for a while. I want a new gaming laptop. There's games I want to play. And so it'll be for everybody. It's not just for Ray. It's for everybody. And, what do you think? Is that something that, if I do that, are you going to be, and it's like, I have nothing to say to you. I've got no job. Like, I have no prospects. I don't know what to tell you. You can do what you want. It's your dime, essentially. So he's like, okay, well, you're not going to say anything to Ray, right? Orion is our son's name, but I call him Ray. Long story. Well, so he's like, you're not going to tell Orion, are you? No, I'm not going to tell Orion anything, I promise. And Orion keeps asking me, because Dustin kind of had it in his head, in Orion's head, that he was going to take the old laptop to this computer repair place that's in town and have them fix it. So he's been acting like he's going to make the time to do that, but, he's working. He doesn't really have the time to do that, yada, yada. Well, Orion, meanwhile, is like, will you help me convince Dad to take the laptop, to get it fixed? I need it for, I got people waiting on commissions. I'm like, oh man, I'll ask him. I mean, I can't promise anything, but I'll ask, acting like I don't know anything. And I had said at one point, like, that I asked him, but I got yelled at, like, leave me alone about it, or whatever. It kind of made him feel bad that, oh yeah, don't tell me to ask your dad again. I don't want to do that. He's not knowing that, like, I see already that it's coming via Amazon. So I know it's on the way. I know it's on the way already. And so even today, he's like, he should get home from work in time. I mean, I'll bring it up to him. I said, okay, well, why don't you make sure that you do your chores, that all the chores that you're supposed to do are done, so that it'll be easier to convince him. Now, okay, you guys, maybe that was wrong of me to make sure he got his chores done, but I want to make sure he had his freaking chores done. He vacuums, and his significant other does the dishes and stuff like that. So I want to make sure that the dishes were done, that everything was taken care of, whatever. And knowing that this laptop is on the way. But Dustin and I like to tag team like that sometimes, where, if he's trying to surprise somebody, I got to play along. You know what I mean? The thing is, I'm the straight shooter in the family. Dustin will say the most ridiculous things to see if he can get the kids to believe him. Like, just honestly ridiculous things. Like, I remember when they were younger, telling them stories. He tells them stories about chupacabras, or, just whatever nonsense that he can come up with. He comes up with, and, they always look to, I will usually tell them, like, if it's something really ridiculous, they'll look to me, and I'm like, no, he's lying to you. Like, no, that's not true. Look it up. It's not true, whatever. So they usually look to me because I'm the straight man, right? Like, I'm the one who always tells the truth. I'm the one who's usually, like, making sure that they're not believing the bull crap. And so when I play along, they don't suspect it at all, because I don't lie to them. I generally tell them the truth about everything. And in these instances, they don't expect it. They just don't expect it from me. So when I pull it off grace, like just masterfully, because they don't expect it at all from me. So he like, he gets the box, and it's a flat box, you guys. Like, it's very clearly not, like, it's the only thing it'll fit in it is a big laptop. So he tells Orion that it has like plant stuff in it, because like I've said in my whip and chats, Dustin is, well, in the live especially, Dustin is obsessed with succulents right now. I don't know what the deal is, but he's just obsessed with succulents of various varieties. We got succulents all over the damn house, and it's fine, but that's his thing. He says nothing about my diamond painting. I'm not going to say anything about his succulents. In fact, somebody deemed him Sir Succulent in the live last week, so I told him that. I said we're sticking with it. So Sir Succulent has been filling the house with plant life, succulents specifically, one of which I will mention is one that is supposed to like have a flower that smells like dead animal. Cool. Great. It's supposed to flower anytime. I'm just giddy with anticipation about that. Great. Frickin' succulent that smells like dead animal. Awesome. Whose idea was that? I don't know. But anyways, so he tells Orion that this box has like plant stuff in it, right? So Orion's standing there watching him open this box, and he's starting to notice something is not adding up, not clicking. Like, wait a minute, that doesn't look like plants. That looks like wait a minute, is that a dad? And it's a very good brand. I think he ended up getting an Alienware, which is like, they are gaming laptops. That's what they're for. And so, they're downstairs right now being geeks about this laptop. They're getting it all set up and, whatever. Just oohing and ahhing over the specs. And we haven't had a new laptop in the house for a very long time. So, I can't blame them. It's cool. It's cool to have new things. So they're down there just ogling while I am up here diamond painting. So there's that. But yeah, anyways, just a fun time, because yes, anytime Dustin tells them some bogus story, I'm usually the one who's like, don't listen to him. He's completely lying to you. And when I don't do that, then they know, they don't see it coming. They do not see it coming. But I am come on, there we go. I am extremely excited about the fact that the in-laws are going to be home, because I cannot wait to start learning how to make these pens. And I think that it's just going to end up being like kind of a little side hustle for the time being. But I have some really cool plans, and until I am ready to actually like put product out, I don't want to talk about what my plans are with them, because I have an idea for these diamond painting pens that I have not seen anyone else do. No one so far. And I've looked. And I think that these ideas that I have for these diamond painting pens, I think that they will be successful. I think that people will want to buy them, because I'm going to have one. I'm going to have one because I want one. I'm like, wait a minute, that's fantastic. I get to have one too. Haha. But I'm going to make a run of them and see how many people I can convince to buy some. And I'm going to try and keep the cost economical so that they're not so expensive that you can't afford it. I intend to ship internationally. If people are willing to pay international shipping, I am willing to ship them internationally. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm really excited that they're going to be home, and I get to learn a new trade. It'd be very cool, I think. And hopefully will net me a little extra money. Okay, so all of those fun little tidbits, right? Let's get into a little something about psychology. I thought this week I'm going to keep it light, keep it airy, like a fart. and, talk about some fun or quirky or weird things to do with psychology. And I looked some things up. I'm like, I want to talk about some like kind of fun fact things to do with psychology or, the human brain, what have you, whatever. So thinking in terms of a few psychological type phenomena that humans experience that we don't necessarily understand why we experience these things, but they're just cool little tidbits, okay? So the first one that people I feel like are the most familiar with as far as like weird, quirky things, psychology wise, that everybody is familiar with is the Mandela effect. Not mandala, not like concentric circles, and no, the Mandela effect. This is when a large group of people remember something differently from how it actually occurred. So this is named after the widespread, incredibly like worldwide spread belief that Nelson Mandela died in prison, but he was released and he lived for years afterward. He was the president in Africa after he was released from prison, but people thought he died in prison. And it's this like widespread misremembering, like it happens with media oftentimes, like people all misremembering that it wasn't Sex in the City, it's Sex and the City, the show. All these little things, right? So the Mandela effect is one of those things that, we have going on and nobody really understands why. Now, the Mandela effect became kind of more popular when social media came about because, it's a whole lot easier to get information from a ton of people when there's a ton of people giving each other information. So I feel like the Mandela effect has always existed. It's just now we have more widespread information about it because more people are online sharing information about things. So yeah, thinking like in terms of that sort of thing. Okay. Here we go. Oh, I'm so happy I'm into like kind of a color blocking section with this. Okay. So the cocktail party effect. This sort of thing refers to the brain's ability to focus on a single conversation in a noisy environment. So even amidst just total chaos around them, people can focus in on the information that's the most relevant to us. It's sort of like super selective hearing. So you're hearing more, even though there's just everything's going on, but the human brain can parse out what it needs to hear. And that's why selective hearing kind of exists. It is true. We really do only listen to the parts of a conversation that our brain wants / needs to hear. We focus in on certain things like, gossip or, new information. We focus in on those sorts of things because our brain seems to think we need that information. The Bader-Meinhof phenomenon. Speak English today, I swear. It's also known as frequency illusion. This is when you learn about something new and you suddenly start noticing it everywhere. So this happens too, like when you buy a car and maybe you never noticed that there were 100,000 blue Priuses everywhere until you bought a blue Prius. But now you see that they're everywhere. Everywhere. Like, where did they come from? How come now all of a sudden everybody has XYZ thing? It's just a cognitive bias. And it's like the thing that you just learned seems to pop up constantly, even though it was around you all along. your brain filtered it out as not important information. It is also a social construct in like social acceptance. We buy things because we like them. However, we have this frequency illusion, this Bader-Meinhof phenomenon, because we want to give ourselves an out, right? Like, oh, look, I did the right thing. I bought the right car because everybody's driving my kind of car. Look at it, it's everywhere. So it's almost a way for us to also like give ourselves affirmation about our decisions, which I thought was pretty interesting. Let's see, other fun little tidbit. Pareidolia is what it's called. That is the tendency to perceive meaningful patterns or images, like faces, in random stimuli. So that's like you see faces in clouds or in toast, right? Or that meme where somebody put something up about this drunk octopus wants to fight you, and it's like a hook in a bathroom where it's got two hooks with its arms up, and it looks like the octopus's eyes are all googly because he's drunk, right? Or when you see faces in electrical outlets or things like that, that's called pareidolia. Or like you think that you hear hidden messages and things that are played backwards. Like it's that we look for some sort of meaning where there isn't meaning. Why do we do it? I'm not 100% certain, but it is something that we do as humans for some reason. There's also the Zeigarnik effect. This is the tendency to remember uncompleted or interrupted tasks better than completed tasks. So, you might, this would suggest like that our brain will keep reminding us of unfinished business until it's resolved. Once it's resolved, our brains they don't care about it so much anymore. It's done. It's over with. It's completed. But you'll always have that nagging feeling, did I turn off the oven? But when you're, packing to leave, your brain is always going to focus on unfinished business. And that is the Zeigarnik effect. There's also the Dunning-Kruger effect, which I thought was pretty cool. So this is when you have a cognitive bias where people with low ability at a task overestimate their ability. Okay. So, and then those with high ability tend to underestimate their abilities. So like this incompetence that leads to overconfidence, or competence can lead to doubt. It's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. And obvious reasons, I found that very fascinating, because it's something that, it cripples us, right? When we are competent at something and we convince ourselves that we're not, or those people who are probably should just leave well enough alone, really want to believe that they're good at a thing. It's like one of those, hold my beer types where you're like, oh, you probably shouldn't. But, this is also why we have the Darwin Awards. So that when dummies do dumb things and don't end up surviving from it, it just sort of, survival of the fittest and all that, right? So the next one is called primacy and recency effects. So this is where you will tend to remember something at the very beginning and something at the very end, but the middle is all kind of muddy, right? So you'll remember maybe a list. Like you'll remember when you go to the grocery store, maybe you had a list written down, you didn't bring the list with you, but you remember maybe like the top 3 items that were on there in the last 4, but you don't remember the 6 or 7 that were in the middle. That's the primacy and recency effect. It's also called serial recall. Another really cool one okay, is the inattentional blindness. Now, this one has been tested a lot of different times, a lot of different ways. This is the one that you hear about where they will have a group of people and they're playing basketball, okay? And they will ask a person to count the number of times that the ball is passed between these people. Count the number of times you see the ball pass between these people. And during the game or during the task, they'll have a person in a gorilla suit run through and, do a little dance and whatever. And at the end, when they ask the people, okay, so how many times did you count the ball being passed between people? And then they'll give an answer, accurate or inaccurate. Okay, did you notice the gorilla that was there? And no, they usually do not see the gorilla. You will have, because your vision or your focus is elsewhere, you will be completely blind to whatever is around it. It's the reason why people can seemingly miss obvious things when your attention is on something else. If you ever wondered what that was called, that's what that's called. There's also the halo effect. So this is a cognitive bias where your overall impression of a person influences your judgments about their specific traits or qualities. So an example would be if somebody is physically attractive, we assume that they're also intelligent or they're also kind. I'm not really sure where this particular bias comes from, but it has caused people who are maybe not as talented in certain ways, but who are attractive to get ahead because we trust somebody who is got a great smile and a good-looking face. Like, we trust them more, or we think that, they're going to be telling the truth, or that they are smarter because of it. Why? It's probably something to do with the way that we seek out certain things for genetic reasons, or, because, ultimately, yes, we're humans and we have higher thinking than animals do. However, ultimately, we are still animals who breed, and the point of things is to procreate and make more of themselves. So I'm sure it has something to do with like mating instincts, probably, or again, that like survival of the fittest mindset. I can't obviously verify that. I don't know the research exactly, but I'm going to assume that that's probably part of it. And I would say it's probably a safe assumption. And then the last one that I had written down is the bystander effect. So this one intrigues me the most, I think, because I feel like I'm almost the exact opposite. But the bystander effect is when it is the tendency for individuals to be less likely to help in an emergency situation when other people are present. The presence of others can diffuse responsibility, like somebody else will step up and take care of it. Somebody else will, you see this sometimes in those, they used to do these like hidden camera shows where, they'd show a man screaming at his wife in a restaurant, and it starts getting really uncomfortable, really out of hand. And it's like one of those what if shows, like, if you were there, what would you do? And, of course we always say, oh, well, I would help. I would this, I would that. And, oftentimes that's not really the case when we are tested, because, if there's other people around, either A, we feel less of a responsibility because somebody else will step up, somebody else will help. And then, the other part of that is like embarrassment. Like, I don't want to be the first to say something, I don't know the whole story, da 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 da. That is the bystander effect. So I don't know. I thought these were really interesting, like quirks of human behavior. I find the human brain utterly fascinating. I think that the ways we learn, the ways that we react, like fascinating. Psychology has always fascinated me as long as I can remember. I wish that I would have gone to school for psychology because I find it just endlessly fascinating how we as a species can be so different from one another, but so much the same. Um, and I think that's why, we look at these biases, right? And you can see how we can come up with certain things, like how we can build religions, how we can um, end up with all sorts of crazy situations because we have these biases. Um, Now, religion is just one example. I mean, there are religions that have been around for eons, right? But then there's these new religions that pop up I'm talking about. I'm not so much talking about, older religions necessarily, but um I find it fascinating that, we as a people, um the sociology of people is utterly fascinating to me. Um when I worked at the Renaissance Fair, there was a wonderful woman who worked there with me. Her name was Anne Elizabeth I'm pretty sure she's still alive. I don't think she's died or anything. Anne Elizabeth Shapira. She wrote a book, and I believe you can still find it. It's called Make It Worth It, and she talks about performing, for like stage performing or street performing. She is the official jester of the city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I didn't know we needed an official jester for the city of Milwaukee, but we have one, and that's Anne Elizabeth Shapira. She's a fantastic street and stage performer. And her book, Make It Worth It, is not just about making it worth it for yourself when you're performing, though it is some of that. It's making it worth it for the people that you're performing for. And part of what she talks about, in a psychology sense, is that we all want to be included, right? Like we long for inclusion. We long for society to tell us that we're right and we're part of it and we're worth being around, etc. And she talks about exclusion and how exclusion, there are studies that have shown that being excluded can make you feel like you've been physically punched in the face. It feels that way. Now, obviously, I'm not going to come up and punch you in the face to test that theory out, but I know that when I have been excluded in situations, it does. It feels like crap. It feels like garbage. It's like, how a group of people, it's like the end of a night at work or whatever, and coworkers are all like, "Hey man, let's go grab some dinner." And it seems like everybody got invited except you, when really, like, organically, probably it just so happened that this group decided to go together because everybody was hungry and they were all heading the same direction, whatever. Or maybe they ended up at the same place on accident and you still felt like, "Oh, see, they all went out to dinner and nobody invited me." I've been that. I've been that many, many times. So I find it fascinating, just the different biases or the different things that we come up with as a human race to, either, you know uh, make those biases come true, or to try and fight against them. I find it endlessly fascinating. So I don't know. Thought I'd leave you with that. Thought it was pretty cool. Because again, to me, I'm just utterly fascinated by the human brain, by societal norms and cultures and things like that, things that are taboo. Like, that used to be a TV show. It used to be called Taboo. And oh my God, I love that show. It was like, you know, just another one of those like, oh, it's not normal to be tattooed all over your face. And so they would find somebody who was tattooed all over their face and just kind of talk about why they made the decisions that they do, or things that are culturally acceptable in, Vietnam might not be acceptable in America, or whatever, Mumbai, different things. Like snake charming is something that would be considered weird or taboo here, but in certain places it's like part of their religion. And so I've always just been fascinated by the different ways that we as a human race like connect with each other or disconnect from each other, the ways that we count ourselves in and the ways that we count ourselves out. And so I think that the thing that Anne Elizabeth Shapira, AE, we just call her AE, that she had put in her book about being excluded, feeling like a punch to the face, is why I've always, always, always been so just stalwart about making sure that people feel included when they're around me. I don't ever want to make somebody feel like they've been physically punched in the face. It's the worst feeling. It's the worst feeling. So, when it comes to my welcome, my initial welcome, when I want people to, feel welcome to the channel, that's why I include everybody that I can, because I want everybody to feel included. So, that said, I want you to know that you are important to me, all of your weird biases and quirks, etc. That I find you endlessly fascinating, every one of you. And I love to learn. I love to learn about you every day, all you weirdos, because I'm a weirdo too. That said, I've eaten up about an hour of your time, so I'll bring this one to a close. But I hope that you have had a fantastic weekend and that you are entering the midweek at a strong pace. I hope that wherever you are in this great big beautiful world, that you are having a beautiful morning, evening, afternoon. Please, please, please leave a like on this video if you liked it. Comment below if you made it all the way to the end. Okay, I want to see a flower. Put a flower down there in the comments that you made it all the way to the end. Any flower, whichever it is. Maybe it's a hydrangea. And then if you are interested in seeing more diamond painting content from me, please do, subscribe to my channel. Share this channel with somebody that you think might enjoy it even, that wants to, learn more about diamond painting or my weird life. Otherwise, until next time, you guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.